Welcome to Weld.com. Recently I toured a former student who's into a big farming operation southwest of town over here by the Oklahoma border. And his dad has this old time barn that they went through. And I got to tour this thing, and it is so cool what they've done to it. It's got a lot of memorabilia to it that dates way back into the 1800s. They've set up and restored this old bar. It's just a cool old piece of property, and they have some events and functions out there, family functions, and I thought, yeah, you know, something I'd like to contribute to, and I'd like to just do a little Texas star that sits somewhere in the rest of their small pieces here. So I'm going to play around with the Texas star today, and something a little bit different. Instead of doing the seams with the carbon wire and painting everything, I think I want to try some silicon bronze with TIG, so that when we do these seams, if we can get this paint scheme right, I intend on painting this thing with like an oil rubbed bronze. It's got a kind of a real deep, rich brown color to it, and just a little bit of gold in it. I like to throw some gold over the top of it as an overspray and let it kind of blend in, and then clear coat the daylights out of it, because I've done several projects like that. I just think they're cool. So right now I've got all my pieces cut for the star. I'm on my last one. I was going to show you how I tack these up. I use a magnet to hang on to them, because, you know, if you're trying to do this and hit the angle, I've never been successful at that. What I like to do is set them up in the magnet. I don't care about both ends being straight, but I like the magnet to hang on to them, and I'll give it a light tack, manipulate this over here and make it consistent, and then I like to lay them all down and tap them where they lay down and all fit the same points and the same seams. I'll show you that here in just a second. Let me grab my sleeves. I'll be right back. Welcome back. I want to get this last tack on here. I'm going to be wearing some Westchester Performance Select driver gloves here, so I can feel things. I like working in drivers. A lot of times we don't need filler wire, so I'm going to get this tack here. Okay, from here, if I started putting all these together, you know, since I did them all the same on the magnet, you know, right now they all look kind of cool and they're going to go together, but I can assure you they will not go this way, so you can see the mistake when it comes around the end. Man, everything is going together beautiful. All four of these fitting up just perfect. Guess what? You get to the last one, even though the height is correct, you end up with all this gap. Okay, no alarm. I'm going to go back and I'm going to lightly tap these down. It'll take a minute, probably do it off camera. I'll tap them all down where they all come out, and they look like this right here. They all look very consistent. And it's okay if you run just a little bit of gap. Again, we'll probably, I personally like to lightly do a sand down through here and make them all straight and consistent, especially where they blend in up here in the very top. You got to fill that in a little bit. Straight seams, and so that's a little bit of a challenge. It just shows finish work. So let me do this off camera. I'll tap them all down, get them all adjusted. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I kind of hit this right on the money. I surprised myself here. I held my finger up underneath this and started tapping these so I could feel them come out. I looked at the clock. I think I spent a total of 45 seconds getting this where they'd all fit up, and I've got them sitting here. I've got a whisper of gap over here on one of them that shows. Again, I'm not alarmed by it at all. I'm looking at the points down inside here, and they all match up to where, I mean, it's good enough, okay? So now, being it's sitting right here, I want to go ahead and start tacking these parts together without it moving around and laying flat. So again, that didn't take very long at all. We initially had them tacked up at about 90 degrees. 90 degrees is not correct. They need to be flattened out just a little bit. So I'm set at 150 amps. Pure argon, about 20 cubic feet per hour. I've got a 332nd E3 tungsten in here. So I just want to hit this down here in the corners. I'll probably systematically move around here a little bit, and I may reach for a piece of filler wire here in a second, but let's see how this goes. Okay, so I am strategically tacked. Now, when I go to welding these come out to a very, very fine point, and I don't like that, okay? I don't like them super sharp down here on the end. I will, as a matter of fact, every one of these I've ever done, I've come in here about 1/8 of an inch or 3/16 or so, and I have hit that on a sander just to get rid of that super sharp point, okay? Just don't like them super sharp. So, you know, again, I'll probably start down here close. That comes out to such a fine point that a lot of times it just kind of blows up anyway. So I'll probably start back away from it. And I'm welding up to the point. So let's experiment with a little silicon bronze. I had intended on doing a video on exhaust pipe with silicon bronze. It's a little different running it. I did a custom exhaust one time on the build was a 32 coupe, and it had a blown Hemi engine in it, and the guy wanted me to do this exhaust so he could take it down and have it ceramic dipped, and he just very adamant about having silicon bronze run on it. And so I did, and it was kind of fun to do, different. Kind of a sluggish pool a little bit. Let's see how this goes. We'll do one going up the seam here. Welcome back. I have everything tacked up. I went and wire buffed this off a little bit. I cleaned my wire. So the first thing I want to do is catch these outside seams up through here. I left this tack down in the side. I've tacked it a lot of places without filler wire. Again, we're going to go finish these welds and round them off. And we're going to, the attempt and the reason we're doing this with silicon bronze is to show some color differentiation when we get this thing finished. So I'm going to start right here. It's going to be real heat sensitive down here at the bottom, and I'm going to blow that point up. I don't care, because I always go back and round those off. So I just don't like the super sharp edges when little kids are handling them, or it's just a safety thing. So we're going to start right down here at the bottom. All right, here we go. One thing I notice about this is it's kind of sluggish. It flows pretty good. I can do a little dab. I did pre-clean the edges of the plasma cut parts. How you doing over there, camera guy? You got us in focus? You better have us in focus. I get up there to the very top, I want to leave that alone. I don't want to go up into that center void up in there. I want to go back and fill that in later. And so there's the first one. Now I'm going to rotate these away from me. This is going to get kind of hot. So here we go on number 2. I noticed that on this wire, either in manufacturing or storage or something, we've got some black on it. And I like to just take a little Scotch-Brite and get it off of there and run it through here. Welcome back. I did quite a bit of work off camera to save a little time. I think you get the gist of it. We started out with our pieces and tacked them up and got them all straight and square. And I did the silicon bronze in the seams. I went ahead and cut this base out for it to stand on. Everything will get the same color, and then I'll come back and I'll probably hit this very lightly with a die grinder and see if I can't pull some color out of it. If not, then I'm going to go with the oil rubbed bronze and just throw a little gold flake over the top of it, overspray, and then clear coat them. So again, a little Texas Star made right here in Kansas. How about that? That's something else, isn't it? Kansas Star. This is the one that I was doing when I mentioned I was doing a big one for the barn. I made a base for this one to stand up on its own. This one here, I want it to hang on the barn wood back behind the bar, so I put a wire back here, and I just barely bent it so that the nail that's hanging on. So when it gets done, again, I'll probably go, because of the colors of the barn wood and everything on the inside, they've left everything rustic, and I mean, again, it's a super cool place and got a lot of good outside pieces too. I think the color scheme will go well. And again, I'm just going to hang this on a single nail or a decking screw or something. This is 10 gauge material. That's that outside corner joint. You know, we put the silicon bronze in there and it flowed in nicely. It sanded off quickly. Good exercise for some TIG work here if you're hobbyist, or you know, the challenge is the fit up, but again, getting these points where they're all sand out pretty straight. That's another thing, you know, your finish work, your sanding and your grinding, flat sanding. I did a little bit of this with a die grinder. I like to finish work, make it nice and smooth. You know, if we were doing a headache rack on a truck with square tubing, these things, I like, you know, it's cool to do some finish work. It's a whole nother skill set and a challenge to get it right. So, hey, fun little project, and I hope this helped. I learn every time I do one of these. I'm always trying to figure out what could I do different to make it better, easier, get the seams exactly straight and everything. You know, you could do these out of aluminum, copper, mild steel. You could do them out of a lot of different stainless steel. You could do them out of a lot of different types of material, and they look pretty cool. You could let them rust. I've seen people let them rust the whole thing, come back and just lick these points and shine them up and then clear coat those. Gives a whole nother contrast to it and everything. So again, I hope this helps. Thanks for watching Weld.com. Please subscribe to the videos. Thanks a lot. We had some comments. Somebody said, I think it was the square tubing video where we did some finish work and we showed a light flat grind and a flapper wheel finish. And man, we had some people come on and just tear us up that, you know, real welders don't grind their work. Oh, come on, man. I had one guy said he could do that with a 500 amp machine and some enormous MIG wire or something. Go ahead, you know, if that's what you like to do, go ahead. I'm sure it looks primo.
Giving that guy a piece of your mind.
Hell yeah, I am. I should have said some punk kid he's a